I'm a huge fan of roguelike games, so when something new comes out, it tends to catch my eye. Curse of the Dead Gods is a brand new action roguelite that was released in February 2021 for the PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Since then, it's received overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam, as well as from sources like IGN and Screen Rant. It shares many aspects with Hades, which was released to critical acclaim back in September, which has been sitting atop the throne as one of the most popular roguelikes available ever since because of its wide appeal to both longtime fans and newcomers to the genre. Is Curse of the Dead Gods here to be a Hades killer? Let's talk about it, why people love it so much, and whether or not you should try it too. If you thought this game looked familiar, I'd have to agree with you, because it looks remarkably similar to its biggest competitor, Hades. They share a similar graphical style overall, an isometric view with dynamic backgrounds and some light cel shading. The animations are stunning, and the whole thing looks amazing. But that's not to say they're the same. Despite Hades taking place in the literal underworld, it's Curse of the Dead Gods that takes on the darker tone. Its palette is less colorful and overall less vibrant, which, personally, I love. They've also incorporated lighting mechanics to give the game a truly unique feel, which both adds to the aesthetic and enhances the gameplay. But we'll get to that later. Overall, I give the graphics a 9 out of 10. I love how this game looks. At this point, it's a tried and true formula that's pretty tough to get tired of. You know when a game has really amazing music that it just grips you and captivates you? I love video game soundtracks, ranging from the Celeste OST to remixes of The Legend of Zelda. I'm a very audio-oriented person, so a game's music is important to me. Unfortunately, this is one area where Curse of the Dead Gods falls short. The music in the game is definitely lacking. Most of the music is very subtle and just acts as background noise to help with the ambiance of the deep, dark temple that you're in. It succeeds in enhancing the feel of the temple, but there just isn't that much to listen to. In fact, it blends into the background so much that I don't even notice it. There's a glaring lack of music on the title screen and when going through the level select. On the other hand, the music that plays when fighting enemy champions, the boss of each floor, is significantly more inspired. I just wish we got more of it, and that it played throughout the majority of the game, because it's genuinely pretty epic. Other than the music, the sound design is solid. There's no voice acting, but the sound effects for menus, attack, damage, and other interactions all seem fitting, in some cases even satisfying. Like the music, they don't stand out to me too much. They're there to assist with the game's ambiance and overall feel, but there's nothing that really wows me. Overall, I'd rate the sound as 6 out of 10. The lack of a solid soundtrack throughout definitely leaves me wanting, but the sound design as a whole gets the job done. The main mechanics of the game are very simple. In true hack-and-slash fashion, you move from place to place, bopping enemies with your weapons until you're ready to move on. There are a variety of different weapon choices that fit into your main, secondary, and heavy weapon slots, each with their own unique strengths and weaknesses. But the mechanics go far deeper than this. The biggest difference when compared to Hades is the stamina meter. Different actions eat up stamina, and managing your stamina is extremely important. This makes for a much more balanced and technically demanding game. The stamina economy gets even more intricate with the introduction of perfect dodges, which restores 1 stamina, or the parry action, which restores 2 stamina points in addition to weakening the enemy. Another big mechanic of the game is the light and darkness. In addition to carrying 3 weapons, you also carry a torch, which illuminates your surroundings and also reveals traps in your vicinity. You can light beacons so that the area remains lit when your torch is put away, or light enemies on fire, which turns them into a light source. This is more important than simply being able to see, since you also take an additional 50% damage while standing in the dark. Progression in Curse of the Dead Gods draws heavily from other roguelikes. The map and movement through the temple is nearly identical to Slay the Spire's map system, providing you a preview of what rewards you'll get for completing each chamber. This way you can plan your route to focus on gold, healing, or whatever loot you prefer. You can upgrade your stats and weapons, or cash in relics for new ones to augment your abilities, all on the way to fighting the champion at the end of each floor of the temple. When you return to the starting area, you can use some of the collectibles you found to unlock new weapons and abilities that are retained between runs. All of this is fairly standard roguelike progression. What really stands out is each run's progression through corruption and curses. Each time you move through a door, pay for an upgrade that you can't afford, heal, or get hit by a darkness-based ability, your corruption meter fills. When it reaches the threshold, you receive a curse, up to 5 in total, and defeating a champion allows you to remove one of those curses. There are more than 20 possible curses to be dealt, which contain powerful mixed effects. For instance, you might receive the Shadow Word curse, which conceals enemies in the darkness only to be revealed by light or when attacking. In return, you deal an extra 20% damage in the darkness. Deciding whether to take on additional corruption to become more powerful, or skip some items and healing to avoid curses becomes a big part of the game, and it's one of the most unique systems I've encountered to date. I could go on because this just scratches the surface. There are enough mechanics that I could make an entire video only talking just about the gameplay, but we don't have time for that right now. All of this comes together to make gameplay rank an outstanding 10 out of 10. It might not be perfect for you if you prefer simpler mechanics, but for me it hits the sweet spot of challenging, somewhere between Hades and Dark Souls, with its own unique twists to keep things interesting. Despite the lackluster music, with gameplay as good as this, you'd think the game would be a slam dunk for most gamers, but there is one other thing that might be off-putting. So let's talk about the story. While roguelikes and roguelites may have story elements, they aren't always the focal point of the game. Some games, like Hades, have rich, engaging stories with deep characters that make you want to progress and keep playing, even if you're bored of the mechanics. Others, like Dead Cells, have vague, overarching stories that you can engage with or skip as you see fit. Curse of the Dead Gods is at the far other end of the spectrum, with no discernible story whatsoever. You're put into a temple with no context, and there's no lore to discover anywhere. For me, the lack of a story has definitely led to less interest than I might have had otherwise. While I mostly play roguelikes for the mechanics, it's harder for me to care and keep playing without something interesting to catch my eye now and again. For some of you, that could be a total deal breaker, even if you love the style. Because there isn't really any story, I can't give it a rating. It's up to you to decide whether this breaks the game for you or if it's something that you can overlook. So what's the verdict? Is Curse of the Dead Gods a Hades killer? I think not. While it's a truly enjoyable game to play, it lacks the broad appeal that a rich and vibrant game like Hades has to offer, and the advanced mechanics may prove frustrating to more casual players. But despite its deficiencies, this game has carved a place for itself with top-tier gameplay that delivers in all scenarios, from the weakest lackeys up to the strongest bosses. Anybody who's a fan of Hades, roguelikes, or has even a passing interest should give it a spin. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, because it really helps me out. If you want to see more Curse of the Dead Gods, click on one of these videos here. And if you want to see more of me, I'm a variety streamer who goes live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch every Monday, Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. You can connect with me on all of my social media platforms by clicking the link in the description below.